Hello again and welcome back to another one. And today we have a couple of topics to cover, from one centered on the Grammy nominees for Best Rap Album, and we got to hear from Ebro's team about the likely winners, including acts like Nicki Minaj who got snubbed, and today we also have more from 50 Cent who reacted to Mike Tyson's quote bleak interview, and also the fact that Mike Tyson smacked Jake Paul ahead of their bout in a few hours. And we also found out why from Mike Tyson. Today we also have what looks to be Stevie J's attempt to soften the blow that Diddy's public image has been dealt in an attempt to speak up for his homie during the interview, but it resulted in the opposite effect. And we have more on Drake versus Kendrick, as a Joe Budden clip just resurfaced that pretty much proves Drake's career may be going through some changes. And as you'd see, even academics agreed at the time, so stick around, it is a lot to unpack today. And starting with the latest on Drake versus Kendrick Lamar, while Academics TV is still out here trying to expose Kendrick Lamar as some fanboy of Drake who switched up on him.
Shout out to Drake, he reached out. How did that happen? I sat down with Drake in Toronto a while back when I did my first show out there. He called me up and we had a few drinks, and he always said he was appreciative of my music. I've always been a fan of his music, and just been chopping it up since, man. And, hit me up one day and say, you know what, handpicked, man, I want you to be on this tour. And it's a lot of artists out there, man, that could have been on that tour we're doing. For him to just, sit there and respect my music, get the same mutual respect, and that's a blessing within itself. So shout out to Tristan.
Well, a clip has resurfaced from the Joe Budden podcast, and as you'd see, we are gonna need Drake's unofficial speaker to comment on this. A clip that resurfaced on social media from back in May.
I know that most of y'all here don't pay the charts and all that shit any mind, especially when it comes to beef. My question to y'all is, if from now to, what month are we in right now? May. If from now to Halloween, Drake doesn't get a #1 anything, does that do anything?
Does he put out stuff?
Yeah.
I think that's impossible.
If Drake puts out stuff, I'm not talking about the shit
6
that go to #1 and go.
Oh yeah. Oh, so we're saying the true
that.
#1. The true #1. That
Yeah.
sticks. No, I think it matters. It
does.
Definitely matters.
If he doesn't put out something to try to
That's a
reach for
statement.
that, then I don't think he does. But if he's
I'm only talking about if he
the attempts,
releases.
That's a statement.
yeah,
No,
it means
that's
something.
That's a statement from everybody else.
Yeah.
Like,
Everybody else? The label?
The industry.
Yes, the industry.
The music does matter, though, too.
But I'm saying, if he's putting out the music, he's just putting out music, and they're refusing to let it
and
rock.
hit the #1 and it go.
Because
go
let's
away.
be clear, it only gets to #1 it stays one way, and that's through them.
Yeah.
They have to allow that.
And this snippet made a comeback with the caption, "I was rewatching old episodes and came across a Joe Stradamus moment. Halloween came and went, and Drake hasn't touched #1 yet. It is funny hearing acts say it would be impossible and that it would mean something." And although one could argue that Drake's release strategy recently has been to put it on IG first before he releases on DSPs, the fact remains that he's not dropped a #1 since that video. And as you saw, academics did in fact say it would mean something back then. And personally for me, this aligns with a theory that I believed from the start, that perhaps Drake got cocky with some executive thinking he was bigger than the label and that they needed him, and now he's getting humbled, because it seemed that anything he dropped did huge numbers before this, but this has changed after the battle. But we'll know for sure after he drops his next project, and I'll be looking forward to your thoughts later. And moving on, Mike Tyson was recently interviewed on Jazzy's World TV, and things got dark fast that shocked the internet. So much so, 50 Cent went off on X. Check out a snippet.
Well, with the big fight coming up, what are the first 3 things that come to your mind when you think of Jake Paul?
I don't think much of him. I think he's very funny. Yeah, he's funny.
Yeah, he's funny, he's a very nice guy, and he's very cool too.
I agree.
Yeah, and he's pretty tough, and he's very dedicated to his career.
Okay, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see, definitely. Well, in your return to the ring for this fight, you are setting a monumental opportunity for kids my age to see the legend Mike Tyson in the ring for the first time. So after such a successful career, what type of legacy would you like to leave behind when it's all said and done?
Well, I don't know. I don't believe in the word legacy. I just think that's another word for ego. Legacy doesn't mean nothing. That's just some word everybody grabbed onto. Someone said that word and everyone grabbed on the word, so now it's used every 5 seconds. It means absolutely nothing to me. I'm just passing through. I'm going to die, and it's going to be over. Who cares about legacy after that? What a big ego. So I'm going to die. I want people to think that I'm this, I'm great. No, we're nothing. We're just dead. We're dust. We're absolutely nothing. Our legacy is nothing.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. That is something that I have not heard before, someone say that as an answer. So thank you so much for giving me that kind of idea as well.
Can you really imagine somebody say, I want my legacy to be this way when you're dead? Why do you want somebody to think? You think somebody really wants to think about you? What's the audacity? I think, I want people to think about me when I'm gone. Who the fuck cares about me when I'm gone? Well, my kids, maybe, grandkids.
Yeah,
Who the
true.
fuck cares?
And again, thank you so much for sharing that.
And while this sparked reactions like Tyson was super deep and real, it was just the wrong interviewer. Some expanded with, I think Mike was trying to steal his feelings with the young interviewer because he lost his 4-year-old daughter not too long ago, tragically on a treadmill. I think the young interviewer, being what would have been his daughter's age now, triggered him to some degree. Certainly an interesting perspective on why things got deep real fast. And we got 50 Cent's reaction. God damn it. Mike, you're scaring the kids. What the F? Dude, chill. Raised eyebrow emoji. Note to self, keep the kids away from Mike. Mike pretty much said, if you're grown enough to conduct this interview, you are grown enough to hear this deep perspective of life and ego. And some have added, Mike scared me as a kid. It only seems fair to pass that on to the next generation. And speaking on Mike Tyson, he fights Jake Paul in a few hours. And during the weigh-in session just hours ago, he ended up smacking Jake Paul on the face. And that's perhaps the best promo for the fight yet. And this was reportedly because Jake Paul stepped on his toes. And Mike spoke about this before as 50 Cent reposted it. See, you step on an older man's feet and ish can get crazy, LOL.
And I have the worst feet in the world, right? And if somebody stepped on my feet, I would totally tap out. I would just give up.
And we got an update from the New York Post that goes, Mike Tyson has explained why he slapped Jake Paul at their weigh-in. I was in my socks and he had on shoes. He stepped on my toes because he's a freaking bumhole. I was in a lot of pain. I had to reciprocate. And moving on, we got Stevie J out here making things worse for Diddy in what looks to be an attempt to clean up the image of his friend. When a snippet from TMZ's Diddy documentary hit social media hours ago, check out a snippet.
How did the Cassie video affect the way or alter the way you look at Diddy?
Well, you know, it really threw me for a loop because, as I've always stated, I always think about and talk about the things that I know to be true about Sean Combs. And, you know, after I saw the video, I went and saw him in Miami and we had a conversation. And I let him know how affected I was by that. And, you know, I didn't know that he had that in him to do that.
My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility.
So my conversation with him was basically like, yo, like, you one of my heroes out here, and you hurt me with that.
And what did he say back to you?
I mean, it was pretty much, you know, a brotherhood moment that I'd rather not discuss right now, but, you know, it was a real emotional moment.
Can you give me some sense of it? Because I think it's important to know how he was dealing with friends like you when you suddenly see something like this that you say comes out of the blue.
He was hurt that video came out. It crushed him, you know, because he's like, yo, my daughters and my mom got to see this. And I'm like, yeah, and your friends got to see it too. So it really hurt him that video came out.
That's interesting. It hurt him because the video came out or because of what he did on the video?
I believe both. hurt him. What he did on the video, he couldn't believe that was the darkest point in his life, and he had to relive that and see that again with his ex-girlfriend of 10 years. Who wants to see themselves beating on a girl in a video? I think that would kind of like hurt all of us. Any man.
It sounds like seeing the video was a headline as opposed to what he did to her.
No, I wouldn't say that. You know what I'm saying? I just know that he was in a dark place in his life, as he described to me, and that, you know, he was just doing a lot of drugs, and it was just dark for him.
Now that clearly sounded like Diddy was mad he got caught more than he was mad that he beat up Cassie. Like, damn, the whole world gets to see this I'm cooked kind of vibes, and the reactions reflect this. He's not hurt that he terrorized that girl for years. He's hurt he got exposed for it. And more on this note, he's hurt that we get to see the real him and not the facade he put on for the public. Now that's a true narcissist. If Stevie J was trying to soften the blow and clean up Diddy's image, he did a horrible job in that interview. And some have added, Stevie J doing everything he can to protect Diddy. Look at the way he says things and the way he looked at the camera when asked questions. He looked guilty as F, knowing he'd done ish also. And I'll be looking forward to your thoughts on this. And moving on, Ebro and his team recently shared their thoughts on the Grammy category for Best Rap Album, and it is good to see that moving forward, it would be no surprises if Eminem takes home the award. Check out a snippet from Apple Music.
First, I would say don't be surprised if Eminem wins.
It's a good album.
It is.
Like, as far as conceptually, what he did was amazing.
Yeah. But I'm picking Future and Metro.
For Best Rap Album?
We Don't Trust You? Phenomenal album out of these that are here. Now, I love the Doechii album, but I don't think just on impact and name and these other things and kind of all the measurables, I don't know if it transcends to the victory. I would love it though.
Yeah.
As a woman, first album out the gate and brings that home, I love that.
Do you believe if we don't get this whole situation between Drake and Kendrick on Metro's We Don't Trust You, do we still have this conversation about that album?
But that's why
yeah, I'm just saying, like, do we have this same conversation? Is it nominated? Is it
Well, there were other songs on that album, not just like that did very well in the real world.
I can only name about 3 outside of Like That.
Okay.
And that's a, 19-song album?
Look, we don't even have Not Like Us without this album. There is no Drake Kendrick without this album from Metro and Future. So that's just on impact alone.
Snubs. Blue Lips should have been nominated for Best Rap Album.
Yeah, Blue Lips definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I think
that was my personal one.
Nicki, there's been a big argument about Nicki at Pink Friday too.
I think that's a big snub.
Yeah.
For on every level.
I agree.
Like, however you're measuring, whatever you're measuring.
I agree.
And there were no singles nominated either, right?
Nothing.
Wow.
Like, completely missed the mark.
And here's a question for you guys. Do you believe that Future and Metro get nominated in the Best Rap Album category without the Kendrick Lamar feature on Like That? And in my opinion, I'd even take it further. If they win, it would be because of the Kendrick feature, in my opinion. And overall, I'll be looking forward to your thoughts on these topics in the comments. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you actually enjoyed this, and see you on the next one.